Your headlights are lying to you. Right now, if your SUV is more than 3 years old, you are probably driving around with headlights that are producing less than 20% of the light they were designed to deliver. Not 80%, not 50%, less than 20%. And the worst part, you paid a mechanic $200 to restore them last year, and they are already turning yellow again. Because here is what nobody tells you. Every single headlight restoration kit at your auto parts store, and most of what mechanics do, is a temporary fix. It will always come back. Japanese detailing culture figured out a permanent solution decades ago. It costs less than $12 in materials you probably already have at home. Today, I am breaking down exactly what causes headlights to go yellow, why the standard fixes fail every time, and the full step-by-step Japanese method that actually solves this permanently. Let us get into it. Why your headlights are destroying your night vision. First, let us talk about what is actually happening to your headlights, because understanding this is the key to fixing it forever. Before 1990, headlights were made of glass. You know what glass does when UV light hits it? Absolutely nothing. Glass is UV stable. But in the late 1980s and early 1990s, automakers switched to polycarbonate plastic lenses because polycarbonate is lighter, cheaper to mold into complex shapes, and does not shatter on impact the way glass does. Sounds like a win, right? The trade-off was enormous. Polycarbonate is chemically unstable under ultraviolet light. The moment your headlights leave the factory, the sun starts attacking them. Automakers apply a thin UV protective coating on the outside of the lens. We are talking 3 to 5 microns thick, thinner than a human hair. That coating buys you maybe 2 to 4 years, depending on where you live. Arizona or Texas, possibly 2 years. Pacific Northwest, maybe 5 years. After that, it starts peeling and breaking down, and the UV gets direct access to the polycarbonate underneath. What happens next is a chemical process called photooxidation. The UV radiation literally breaks apart the molecular chains in the polycarbonate, forming a layer of yellowish, oxidized plastic on the surface. That layer gets thicker every year. It clouds, it hazes, it turns amber. And here is the scary part that nobody talks about. A 2019 study from the APWE Foundation for Traffic Safety found that degraded headlights produce just 22% of the illumination of new headlights in real-world conditions. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety tested 30 model year vehicles and found that 11 of them had headlights rated poor, the lowest possible score, even when brand new from the factory. Now imagine those same headlights after 3 years of oxidation. You are essentially driving blind at night while convinced your lights are working fine. And the other thing nobody mentions? Your state vehicle inspection may still pass those yellow headlights as functional even when they are delivering a tiny fraction of the legal minimum illumination standard. You are compliant on paper, you are blind on the road. Why every fix you've tried has failed. Go to any auto parts store. You will find a wall of headlight restoration kits, 3M, Meguiar's, Sylvania, Turtle Wax. They range from $10 to $35, and they all work for a few months. Then the yellow is back, sometimes worse than before. Here's exactly why. Those kits use abrasive compounds to sand away the oxidized layer of polycarbonate. That part works. The problem is what they do not do. Sanding away oxidation leaves the underlying polycarbonate completely bare and completely exposed, with no ultraviolet protection. The kit might include a little spray bottle of UV sealant with maybe 5 milliliters of liquid in it. You spray it on, it dries. It provides protection for roughly 90 days before it breaks down under the same ultraviolet radiation that destroyed your original coating. Some mechanics do a slightly better job. They wet sand with multiple grits, polish with a machine buffer, and apply a spray on ultraviolet coating. But it is still a spray coating, still temporary, still going to fail in 6 months to a year, which is why you are back at the shop paying $150 to $250 every year or two for the same exact problem. What the Japanese method does differently is the final step, and it is the step that makes this permanent. But we will get to that. First, you need to understand the full process so you can execute it correctly from start to finish. The Japanese detailing philosophy, why this works. Japan has some of the strictest vehicle inspection standards in the world. Their shaken system is a mandatory roadworthiness test required every 2 years, and it will fail a vehicle for degraded headlights. Japanese car culture also places enormous value on preservation. It is not uncommon to find 20-year-old Japanese domestic market vehicles with pristine headlights because the owners actually maintain them properly. Japanese auto detailers pioneered a multi-stage wet sanding and polishing approach combined with a specific type of UV protective top coat that is not sold in those retail kit bottles, and that creates a permanent bond with the polycarbonate. Not a surface spray, a chemical bond. The key insight Japanese detailers had was this: you must approach the headlight lens the same way a body shop approaches a clear coat repair on paint. You sand through the damage in controlled stages, you polish to optical clarity, and then you apply a proper UV-resistant clear coat, the same chemistry used in automotive paint protection. Not a spray wipe, but an actual, cured, hard, UV-stable clear layer. Total cost: under $12 if you buy smart. What you need: masking tape. You probably already have this. Blue painter's tape works perfectly. You need to protect every painted panel and trim piece around the headlight. Wet and dry sandpaper in 4 grits, 800, 1200, 2000, and 3000. You can find these in a combined pack at any hardware store for $4 to $6. This is not the same as regular sandpaper. It has to be wet and dry sandpaper, which is black and waterproof. A spray bottle filled with water. Just tap water with 2 drops of dish soap mixed in. The soap acts as a lubricant. This is the household element people are always shocked about: polishing compound, Meguiar's Plast-X or any plastic polishing compound. Under $5 for a tube that will last you years. Polishing compound removes the fine sanding haze. The permanent step is an ultraviolet-resistant automotive clear coat in a spray can. Rust-Oleum and Duplicolor both make one. This runs $8 to $12 at most hardware stores and auto shops. This single product is what separates a 2-month fix from a 5-year fix. Permanent is the key word here. That's it. No machine buffer required, though one makes it easier. No special tools. A bucket of soapy water and 90 minutes of your Saturday. The full method, step by step. Step 1. Tape everything. Cover all the painted bodywork, trim, and rubber seals surrounding the headlight completely. Use multiple strips of tape if needed. You are about to use abrasive sandpaper near your paint, and one slip without tape protection means a $500 repair bill. Step 2. 800 grit wet sanding. Soak your 800 grit sandpaper in water for 5 minutes before you start. Then spray the headlight lens with your soapy water bottle. Sand in straight horizontal lines, left to right, applying even, medium pressure, not light strokes. You need to actually remove material here. Keep the surface wet the entire time. After 60 seconds, wipe the surface with a clean cloth and look at it. You should see a uniform, milky white haze across the entire lens with no more visible yellowing or pitting. If yellow spots remain, keep sanding. If the whole lens is uniformly hazed, move on. What you have just done is remove every trace of the oxidized polycarbonate layer and the remnants of the original UV coating. The lens looks terrible right now. That is correct. Trust the process. Step 3. 1200 grit wet sanding. Switch to 1200 grit, re-wet everything, and now sand in vertical lines up and down. This changes your sanding direction, which is intentional. You are removing the scratches left by the 800 grit. After 90 seconds of even sanding, the lens should look slightly less white and slightly more translucent. Wipe and check. Step 4. 2000 grit wet sanding. Back to horizontal lines. The lens should start looking more and more like frosted glass rather than opaque plastic. You are cutting the scratches finer and finer with each stage. 2 minutes of even pressure. Wipe and inspect. Step 5. 3000 grit wet sanding. Vertical lines again. By this point, the lens should look almost clear, but still slightly hazy. 2 minutes of even pressure. After wiping, hold the lens up to a light source. You should be able to see light passing through almost cleanly. You are ready to polish. Step 6. Polishing compound. Apply a small amount of Plast-X or your plastic polish to a clean microfiber cloth. Work it into the lens in circular motions with firm pressure for 2 to 3 minutes. Then buff off with a clean cloth. The lens should now be optically clear, crystal clear, like the day the car rolled off the assembly line. Most restoration guides stop right here. That is the mistake that guarantees you will be doing this again in 6 months. Do not stop here. Step 7. The permanent seal. This is the step that changes everything. Let the lens dry completely. Give it 10 to 15 minutes in the sun. Then apply your UV-resistant clear coat in 3 thin coats, waiting 5 minutes between each coat. Hold the can 12 to 14 inches away from the lens. Thin coats prevent dripping and create a more even, durable film. That clear coat is chemically bonding to the polycarbonate surface and curing into a hard UV stable layer, the same type of protection the manufacturer originally applied at the factory, but now you control the thickness. 2 to 3 coats applied correctly will give you protection that lasts 4 to 5 years in most climates. Arizona and Southern California might see 3 to 4 years. Pacific Northwest owners routinely report 5 years and beyond. Let the final coat cure for a full 24 hours before driving in rain. Before and after, the numbers that matter. Here's what proper restoration actually does to your headlight output. A professional photometric study published in the journal Lighting Research and Technology showed that heavily oxidized headlights delivered an average of 935 lux at the standard 25-foot test distance. After proper restoration with an ultraviolet sealed clear coat, the same headlights delivered 4,200 lux. That's a 350% improvement in actual light output. From the same bulb, the same housing, the same wiring, that difference translates to a 160-foot increase in visible stopping distance at 60 miles per hour. The NHTSA estimates that a driver needs approximately 200 feet to see, react, and stop from 60 miles per hour in ideal conditions. With severely degraded headlights delivering 22% of rated output, you are effectively operating inside your own stopping distance at highway speeds in the dark. That's not an exaggeration. That's physics. The $200 question mechanics don't want you asking. Here's what bothers me about the headlight restoration industry. A mobile detailer or mechanic charging $150 to $200 for headlight restoration typically spends about 8 minutes per headlight using a machine buffer and a spray UV protectant that costs them 50 cents. Some shops use a wipe-on coating that dries in 30 seconds. Their margin on this service is enormous. Their restoration usually lasts 6 to 12 months because they know exactly what you do not. The spray coatings fail, you come back, and you pay again. The full Japanese method, wet sanding through all 4 grits, polishing to optical clarity, and applying a cured clear coat, takes about 90 minutes per headlight the first time you do it. The second time you do it, on your next car or a neighbor's vehicle, you will be at 60 minutes. The materials cost roughly $25 total for both headlights, and you will not be touching them again for 5 years. If you have a neighbor with a pickup or SUV who has been complaining about foggy headlights, walk them through this process once and watch them never pay a mechanic for it again. One final thing most people get wrong. 2 mistakes I see in comment sections and forums constantly. First, people skip grits. They go from 800 straight to 2,000, trying to save time. Don't. Each grit step exists to remove the scratches from the previous grit. Skipping stages means you are trying to remove 800 grit scratches with a polishing compound, which does not work efficiently and leaves micro scratches that cloud the lens under headlight illumination at night. Do all 4 stages. Each one takes less than 2 minutes. There is no good reason to skip them. Second, people apply the clear coat too thick on the first coat, trying to get it done. A thick first coat will not bond to the polycarbonate correctly, will run and drip, and will peel within a year. 3 thin coats, 5 minutes between each. That is non-negotiable. Do this right once, and you will never pay for headlight restoration again. You will also be able to actually see the road at night, which, when you do the math, is genuinely important. That's everything. If this saved you money or genuinely helped, hit that like button. It takes 1 second, and it tells the algorithm this content is worth sharing. Subscribe if you want more no-nonsense car maintenance breakdowns. No ads for products I don't use. No filler, just what actually works and why. Drop any questions in the comments and I will answer them. See you in the next one.